Sean will be on soon. Had to reset his computer. Now we started a little bit early just so you can hear us. Pre-episode intro. Allergies messed up. On top of that, you don't even get to hear the microphone. You have to use my Mac mic. So sorry about that. I need to do a major update to my system right now. Here we go. It's almost there. Soundboard in. Sorry, I'm not very entertaining. While we wait, I'll let you know what's on the show. We're going to do Army of the Dead, The Dry, Drunk Bus, Blast Beat, The Pink documentary, All I Know So Far, and Amityville Poltergeist. A classic is White Zombie from 1932. And then 30 years ago, Backdraft and Thelma and Louise came out, as well as Hudson Hawk, Only the Lonely and Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken. Next week, we're going to knock out Cruella, A Quiet Place 2. There's a Moby documentary I guess we're going to watch, and a movie called Endangered Species. Our classic will be Lars and the Real Girl, and 30 years ago, Soap Dish came out. I don't think Sean watched the Pink documentary, so I'll have to struggle through that one. And in some ways, that's all I watched. Couldn't get through Army of the Dead, way too long. I think for bonus podcasts, we're going to do through Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Greg'sPod. We're going to maybe try music reviews, something different. It's outside of the movie realm, obviously, but still in the critic realm, so we'll probably look at some classic albums and just talk about them. See if we like them or don't like them. But we'll see how that all works out. I thought it was almost here. My apologies to everybody who joined early. Like, I wonder if someday this shirt is going to come back and bite me from working on the podcast. It's part of our TeePublic merch at IKCritics.net. There's a TeePublic link up in the right-hand corner. If you want this shirt or the Willem Dafoe's sausage or Batman versus Superman or Batman versus Jesus, all those are there along with our logo. Lord of the Fitbit. I'm selling a lot of those lately. I don't know who's buying those. Probably not podcast listeners. Man, my allergies are nuts. It's embarrassing. Here he comes. Maybe. Getting closer. There he is. Connecting to audio. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Sorry I'm late.
No, you're fine. I've been trying to entertain the YouTube audience by myself.
Yeah.
Hopefully it wasn't too boring for them. Actually, hopefully there was none of them. I mean, from being honest.
I can watch it later, Bob.
I know.
I have no AC and a slight cold, so I'm having a good day.
Nice. My allergies are all fucked up, so it's gonna be another fun sniffling show.
Listen on headphones.
All right. So it sounds like we have everything. Anything you need?
No, I didn't see the Pink documentary, but you can talk about that.
I put it on here. It's not much to it, so I'm not gonna go too long with it. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, YouTube people, my cords are still messed up, so you won't hear the intro.
Why was that happening?
Welcome to the Everyone's a Critic movie review podcast. I'm your co-host, Bob Zerl. With me, as always, is professional film critic Sean Patrick. Visit us at ihatecritics.net, Everyone's a Critic podcast.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Our handle is Critics Pod. You can listen to the show at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Alexa, all your podcatchers. And you can watch us live on YouTube on Monday nights around 8 Central Time, give or take 5 or 10, 20, 30 minutes, depending on which one of us is running late.
Computer updates. What are you going to do?
I mean, I finished eating dinner at 7:58, so I was pushing it too. Then we're Patreon, patreon.com/criticspod. It's the best way to help support the podcast. Working on bonus episode ideas.
And Bob, starting today, we have a contest. There's a new movie called Deliver Us from Evil, and it's opening on Blu-ray and DVD tomorrow. And you can win a copy of Deliver Us from Evil, which is quite an interesting film. I've only watched part of it. I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing today, but it's coming out tomorrow, and you can win a copy by giving us a 5-star review on Apple or wherever you go for your podcasts, wherever you can review podcasts. That'd be really good for us. And if you let us know that you did it, you'll win a copy. We've got 5 of them to give away, so you can even have the one that I watched.
Yeah. So yeah, hit us up on social media if you do a review. We'll also go try to check all the platforms as well. There's so many out there that we may miss them. So please let us know if you leave that review, and we'll definitely get it out to you. We also have our TeePublic merch over at ihatecritics.net. Up in the right-hand corner, you can click on the link to buy one of these shirts. So it'll probably get me canceled someday.
But be sure to watch Deliver Us from Evil starting on demand tomorrow, as well as on physical media.
Excellent. All right, let's jump into the show. And let's start with Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead is the new movie from Zack Snyder. He of the Snyderverse, and of course the Snyder Cut most recently. It stars Dave Bautista and a group of people that you're going to forget who they are right away, aside from maybe Tig Notaro, who's just more interesting than pretty much everybody else in this movie. Also added after the movie was completed. This movie is so long. I really just couldn't take it. This one is not nearly as much fun as what Snyder has done in this genre before. Dawn of the Dead had energy and speed and a lively, plot with characters that I was fascinated by, with Ving Rhames and Sarah Polley. Good cast. This one, everybody just melts into the background who isn't Batista. And
the poster.
I lost track of who was who very early on, and really didn't care to try and keep up with who survived and who didn't. This is disappointing because I thought maybe Snyder was getting better as a filmmaker. I really liked the Snyder Cut. I was really impressed with what he did with that. And this just seems like the typically Snyder-esque regressions that we're used to. A lot of juvenile humor, lots of quick cuts, and yet not nearly enough of them because he somehow left this movie to be 2.5 hours long. Good God. I mean, really, this is a zombie heist movie. Vegas has been overrun by zombies. A guy outside of Vegas wants to send a team in to reclaim his $200 million inside of a safe at his casino. He hires Batista for the job, who puts together a team. You've got to go with the putting together a team montage from every other movie, but longer this time. And then you've got the side missions that, of course, have to happen in movies like this, where, oh, so-and-so is lost in the zombie area and we have to go save her. We don't have time. We've got this to do. And there's a bomb coming. And Oh, but we have to. Okay, I'm a good guy. I'll go do it. 2.5 hours long. Good. I mean, Snyder, come on, man. Come on, man. This is just way too long.
Yeah, it's hard for me to criticize anything else because you need to cut a good hour of this out.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to say anything else is wrong with the movie except for that because I don't know. It's just I mean, that's a lot to cut out. A movie like this needs to be tight and fun and quick, and it drags on for way too long. I wasn't shocked at the length because Zack Snyder has done long movies, like almost all of his movies are long. But you know, he's working with with Watchmen and even the Batman and Superman stuff. Those are characters we were already familiar with. They were worlds we were interested in. So it works a little better here. He's introducing everybody to us, and he needed to cut it up a little bit better, a lot better. It's gotten to the point where the behind the scenes story is more interested in the movie itself.
Yeah, and which, by the way, they've released a documentary on the behind the scenes of this movie, which I'm sure is far more interesting. And the classic Gene Siskel line, I'd rather watch this group of people have a conversation than make this movie. Like, I'd rather watch Dave Bautista talk to Tig Notaro than watch this movie. That's far,
except they've never met. They've never met in
right.
real life.
That would be still far more interesting.
Yes. And it's hard for me to even say that because I don't know. There's an hour too much in this. If you take it out, maybe it is good. You know, it's hard to. It's just impossible for me to really review it.
You're going to spend most of your time during this movie on your phone doing other things because you're going to get bored. There's just no other way about it. You've seen these scenes before, and it's not a particularly inventive zombie movie. The zombies, I guess there's a zombie couple that is supposed to be kind of a different twist on the zombie genre, but it's not nearly enough to make these zombies all that interesting.
Well, again, the length. I mean, I hate going back to that, but even if it was interesting, it's so long that a lot of people are going to turn it off.
Yeah.
This is definitely a movie I could see where if you were to look at the Netflix stats, people aren't finishing it. I can guarantee it. I mean, some are, but I guarantee.
But I bet most of them are scrubbing it. They're like, okay, great, let's get through this and get to the next zombie thing. Okay, there's zombies. I'll stop here.
Right.
That's how most people are watching this movie.
Yeah, and if anybody's not aware, Chris D'Elia they filmed the whole thing with him in it. Yeah. And they went back and spent millions of dollars to cut him out and put Tig Notaro in it. And that's the best thing they did in this movie.
Yeah.
Because she's fantastic. And
yeah. I mean, you could have dropped in Chris D'Elia being eaten by zombies somewhere, but other than that.
But I mean, it kind of went seamless. I couldn't really tell in the fact that I knew. And that alone is pretty impressive. But overall, it's just kind of.
It's self-indulgent and way too long and not different enough from other zombie movies to make it more interesting than other zombie movies. I mean, a zombie heist movie is a good idea, but again, you're talking about two genres that thrive on, quickness, getting to the point, doing the thing. You've got to put your team together montage, but that whole bit about the hospital workers outside the zombie area, like, who the hell cares about that? I know you're trying to inject some emotional involvement in it, but I really don't want that in my zombie movie.
Well, you're a zombie movie in Vegas on time. Yeah. I mean, they're clearly not. The premise isn't meant to be serious at all.
Right.
So why even waste time with that?
You've got a zombie tiger in this movie.
Stuff that probably is cool if this is a tight movie. I really think if they, I don't know what they would have cut off. I mean, it's hard because I was on my phone, so I don't know what they would have cut. But just long, boring, and
I was playing Uno I got about a half hour in, and I just started playing Uno on my phone, and I looked up a few times.
Still not in Vegas
not good.
Yeah, I mean, it took a long time for them to get there.
Yeah.
Just
disappointing because I did honestly after seeing the Snyder cut and seeing how well put together that was for a 4 hour plus movie. That is a really good, engaging movie. It's a lot like watching a really good Netflix TV show that you just let run for a day. Like, that was exciting. This is just not. This doesn't feel episodic. It feels endless.
Yeah, and I largely like what Zack Snyder does more than not, but this is not one of them. And then you throw in what they did with the WWE. That's even worse.
The Miz died, man.
I mean, I know Netflix and WWE must have some sort of agreement, but
it's millions of dollars that they got for that. Yeah.
And yeah, it's
millions of dollars and the reputation of Damian Priest, unfortunately.
Miz will survive
it. Yeah, Miz will get out. Oh yeah, Miz can do anything.
All right. Let's move on to The Dry with Eric Bana.
Yes, The Dry is a story set in Kiwara, Australia, a made-up town, but it's in the outback. And it's in this town that is suffering from a severe drought and has been for some time. And it plays out in a fashion that really makes you wonder if this drought isn't somehow biblical, given the nature of the sins and the secrets involved with everybody in this movie. Eric Bana plays a federal agent who returns to Kiwara after years away. He grew up there as a child. He's been gone for about 30 years. He left under some very unusual circumstances when a girl that he was friends with, that he had a crush on, played by Bibi Betancourt, flashbacks, disappeared and then turned up dead near where he actually was that day. He didn't kill her, but a lot of people have a lot of reasons to believe that he was involved, especially after he made up, he and his partner Luke, his buddy Luke, made up a alibi for him that was clearly a lie. He comes back to Kiwara because Luke is dead and is accused of having killed his wife and son and then taken his own life. Luke's parents don't believe that he actually killed himself, and they turn to Eric Bana's federal agent to investigate, to look into this. And he partners up with the local sheriff, played by Greg Rocco, who's really impressed by his reputation as a federal agent and isn't aware of his history in the town. The two go on the hunt to find out what happened. And what they uncover throughout is a series of secrets and lies that are really entertaining and easy to invest in. There's a lot of really good red herrings in this mystery, but also just this really strong emotional core, especially when it comes to Eric Bana and another character played by Genevieve O'Reilly. The two of them were the essentially the boyfriend girlfriend of the Luke character and the Bibi Betancourt character, now who both of whom are dead. So they have this massive shared trauma plus several of their own secrets that they're keeping from each other, but that are going to be revealed throughout and put in peril the potential relationship that they might have. I really enjoyed this. Robert Connolly is a smart director who makes a lot of really great choices, and the atmosphere of this movie, this sweaty, dry atmosphere, and especially the threat of brush fire in this area is really one that underlines everything. It's a very fiery situation, and it's almost like the fires of hell could pop up at any moment to swallow the entire town. This movie is awesome. I really liked it a lot, and I highly recommend it.
Does it stick around at the end of the year? Your best of the year movies, or
it's hanging around like a bottom of the top 10, so I'm not sure if it's that good. It's much more pulpier than it is like really deeply emotionally investing. So it's more of a mystery than it is a movie that really sticks to your ribs like that.
Any flaws? I was gonna watch it. It just looked overly complicated for as late as we were gonna turn on. There's too much going on.
Some of the redneck characters are a little stock, but they're outback Australian redneck characters. So at least there's that difference. They get great accents. No, it's a really well put together movie, and I do highly recommend it. For fans of mysteries especially, this is a really good one.
All right, American Pie Drunk Bus. Actually, I watched the trailer to that. I didn't watch the movie, but this looks nothing funnier than, but it looks nothing like either one. I mean, it looks like a straight up kind of a artsy comedy. It's
a comedy drama, really. Actually, stars a guy named Charlie Tahan, who's popular from the Netflix series Ozark. He plays a guy who got dumped by his girlfriend several years before the start of this story. She dumped him and moved to New York. He thought he was going to spend the rest of his life with her and become a photographer. And instead, after she dumped him, he just decided to keep his job driving the drunk bus on his college campus and just kept doing it even 2 years after he was out of college. Things begin to turn around in his life after he gets assaulted on the bus one night, and his boss, played in a very slight, kind of funny cameo by Will Forte, assigns him a bodyguard. The bodyguard is played by a guy named Pineapple Tangaroa, who's this city of Austin personality. He's got tattoos all over his face. He's got a lot of piercings. He's a big, kind of scary looking guy, but he's also this cuddly teddy bear. And he becomes kind of a guru for Charlie Tahan's character, and begins to lead him out of the wilderness of his life and gets him to try and open up and have some fun. And that's a really fun story. And it really turns entirely on the relationship between Charlie Tahan and Pineapple Tangaroa. If they don't have chemistry, this movie doesn't work, but they do. And Pineapple's a really interesting character. He's got a lot of facets to him. He's very charming. He's cuddly and sweet, but also very intimidating when he has to be, and that's fun to watch. And it is really nice when you're watching a guy like Charlie Tahan's character be bullied for as long as we're watching him be bullied and belittled. It's nice to see somebody stand up for him. And when Pineapple does that, you kind of get that visceral thrill, that a little bit of buzz from that, and that's really fun stuff. And then of course there are other characters in the movies. There's a female character who's a pretty obvious potential love interest that he's kind of overlooking, because the entire movie he has this text message from his ex-girlfriend that's been hanging over his head for a little while. She said she's coming back from New York and possibly moving back from New York, and he doesn't know how to respond to that. It's put him into a tailspin just as we're joining the story. So lots of stuff happening there. It's a funny movie. It's a sweet movie. It's got really wonderfully sweet moments. There's a guy in the movie named, the character's name is Fuck You Bob, and all he does is just say fuck you every time he does. Every line he has is just fuck you Bob. And so he just says fuck you to everybody. And he has a surprising, ending, the way his character plays out in this movie. So there, yeah, I like this movie. It's not nearly the kind of raucous, Porky's-esque comedy that the title Drunk Bus might imply. It's much more charming than that.
Well, yeah, especially when you throw the Funny or Die on it. It's just like, this has to be silly. I mean, watching the trailer, I almost thought his bodyguard was an imaginary friend, just by the way they showed it in the trailer. But
yeah, they could have gone that way. They could have. They didn't, but they could have gone that way.
Doesn't sound like it was necessary.
There's also a wonderful character in this movie played by alt comedian Dave Hill, who plays a character named Devo Ted. He loves Devo, the band Devo, because they're from near where he lives, and he doesn't realize that his name, Devo Ted, actually, if you look at it, he's tattooed on his hand, and he doesn't realize it spells out devoted.
So many comedies would have screwed that up.
You gotta have a guy like Dave Hill to pull that off.
I mean, I can literally hear your review, or figuratively hear you say, "Get it? Devoted? Haha, funny." And I really had a bad movie. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, that's impressive.
No, it was so good that actually before the reveal, it didn't hit me either.
That's awesome. But it is available.
Yeah, it's available right immediately.
And then there was Blast Beat. I didn't check this one out because your review said not to.
Yeah, it's a really middling effort here. This one is a movie starring Mateo and Moises Arias, who starred in another version of this movie about 5 or 6 years ago that was, I believe, a short film. And now they've expanded it out to a full-length movie. And there's a lot going on in this movie, but they just don't really pick a perspective here. The idea, I guess, starts with kind of this goofus and gallant story of two brothers. One's, the noble, good-hearted, mom-loving, successful brother who's also happens to be like a devotee of death metal. And then you've got the skater boy little brother who's a constant screw up and a problem to his family for all time, just because he constantly gets into trouble. They're on a track to where they're moving from their home in Central America to Atlanta, Georgia, so the older brother can attend the Georgia Technical Institute. His father's already moved up there several months earlier because of threats to his life. So he's already up there, and he's bringing his wife. So it's Wilmer Valderrama and Diane Guerrero. Diana Guerrero from Orange is the New Black play the parents in this movie. And there's an immigration story going on. There's an education story going on. There's multiple different potential love stories going on. And none of them really get enough attention or enough time to really develop. The brother wants to be the older brother, the good one, so to speak, wants to be a NASA scientist, and he's very hard-headed and driven to get to that point. And I like the juxtaposition of him also having a devotion to death metal to go with that. It's a unique set of traits to have. And that I think that's a more interesting track for this movie than this thing about the little brother constantly getting into trouble or the parents having immigration issues. And it's also set in the year 2000 for reasons that I can't even begin to understand. There's really no need. It takes the impact away from the immigration story, because the immigration story is more interesting if you set it in 2019. When that was such a hot button. Not that it wasn't in 2000, but it was much more of an issue, just about 2 years ago, when everybody was worried about being sent home. Setting this in 1999 kind of takes the punch out of that. So there's a lot of choices here, and like I said, a lot happening, but not nearly enough. And why is the movie called Blast Beat? Just because the older brother likes death metal? That doesn't really.
That's really my question.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it kind of relates to him wanting to blast off his satellite into orbit, I guess. Maybe, but I don't know. The title seems like a choice that was made at the last minute.
I mean, it seems like the metal would have had to be what the movie is about if you're gonna call the title Blast Beat. And how much time do they spend with death metal, or is it just he likes death metal and they move on?
They have a couple scenes with it, like there's a concert scene early on in his last night in Colombia, and the family's last night in Colombia, and then he's constantly kind of putting on death metal to focus and to do his stuff that he's doing to try and get into NASA. But beyond that, it's not really a major focus of the movie that he likes death metal.
No, I've been very busy this last year, and my wife isn't as busy because she gets to work from home, and it's all great for her, but she'll invite the nieces and nephews over. I'm just like, I just need quiet. I need the noise to go away. And then, so I'll go and I'll play metal or death metal or whatever, full volume or whatever, just kind of, and put my head under a pillow and just listen to it. And she's like,
right,
you just said you don't want noise. I'm like, but this clears everything out. It helps me focus.
I can definitely sense that. I might not be a death metal fan, but I can definitely sense where the catharsis of that blast beat makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and I'm not so much a death metal guy, because once you start getting into the genres, it gets a little crazy. But just some metal in general.
Really, there's a lot more buzz for the soundtrack of this movie than there is for the actual movie itself.
I mean, I will say, when you named the movies for this week, this is one I was most excited about because of the name. I'm going to find out. Nah, I don't need to see it. I mean, if you came back and said it was all about metal, I'd go back and watch it. But
yeah.
I didn't get that from your review or what you just said now. So.
Yeah, no.
All right. What I did watch, which you did not, was the Amazon Prime documentary Pink, All I Know So Far.
Let me ask you this. Is this just like a big wet sloppy kiss for Pink from Amazon? Is that what this is?
I don't think so.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, I guess I could, maybe I relate enough. I have two kids, a girl and a boy. They're about the same age difference. It's all about her family. And then it's about her getting to play Wembley Stadium, which is always a big deal. The Foo Fighters did something a few years ago when they got to play Wembley Stadium, and it was just a cool thing to watch. And so just kind of watching somebody achieve that is fun for me automatically. Then you throw in the family dynamic and trying to do a tour, but be on the road.
Yeah.
She's a mom, but they can't go outside. So they're just stuck inside a lot. Her littlest kid still just becomes the star of the movie. And it's just about her getting to Wembley Stadium. They go from arenas to stadiums at the end of the tour. She's got, I don't know if you've ever seen videos of her live, but when she does award shows and stuff, she does pretty impressive stuff while singing, which most other pop stars don't do. They lip sync while they dance. She's flying around, flipping and flopping. And, so it's really neat. And now they're doing this on the same show on a much bigger stage. So she's got to run around more and sing more. And, she doesn't have the energy, the stamina to do it. So then they have to rearrange the show. It's the kind of thing I'm interested in. So I think one, being the same age as her and Carrie Hart and having kids similar. I mean, they're different. My kids are older, but, the similar distance apart, the same gender. I was able to relate to it more. And then just you throw in the fact that it's about, somebody achieving a dream of playing Wembley Stadium, which is really a big deal for any artist. Quite frankly, I was shocked she'd never played it before because she's pretty huge. And I guess I was entertained by it enough that if it was something cheap for Pink from Amazon, I didn't notice it. It's not her life story. It's just literally, her, achieving success to Wembley Stadium and watching somebody get excited about that.
Well, that's cool. I like her a lot. She's really talented, really talented. And I've always enjoyed just about everything that she's done. And next week, we're going to talk about a documentary about an artist that I hate and that is really highly irritating. So it's nice to know this is out there as a kind of a counterbalance.
I didn't want to complain. I wanted to make a joke, but there's no way I could make the joke without it sounding like I was complaining. Like, we're not doing Pink, but we're going to do Moby. But
I'm not allowed to say whether or not that's true. That's the movie or not.
Oh, sorry.
There's an embargo, Bob.
Well, you just didn't like the guy. I mean, the movie exists. I was able to Google it. Anyway, we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you like Pink, I recommend it. If you like the one, I wish Pink was more rock. But if she was, she would just be like what Hailstorm is, and there'd be a ceiling of how far she could get. So it's neat. I definitely recommend it, especially if you're a fan of Pink. All right. One of these movies we'd never talk about if there wasn't a pandemic. Amityville Poltergeist.
Amityville Poltergeist is a movie that earned the title Amityville Poltergeist only after it was purchased by a shady distributor who put this out there and gave this title to try and sell it to people. The image that people are seeing on our YouTube feed right now has absolutely nothing to do with this movie. There is no ugly looking demon pig guy. The house isn't even the same. Like it's such a lie. The title's a lie too, because they never mention Amityville during the entire movie, nor do they mention poltergeists. The big bad in this movie is basically like a low-rent version of the girl from The Ring. Wow. So the idea here is that this guy needs some money. He goes on some type of Craigslist types website and finds somebody looking for a house sitter. It's the son of an older woman who is needing to go to a hospital for a few days because she's been seeing things in her house that other people don't see. Demonic presences who are knocking on the doors and doing all those things that demonic presences do in bad movies, knocking things over, walking up the stairs really loud, that kind of stuff, but they never really do anything dangerous. This movie is so bad. It looks like it was shot in somebody's bedroom. I mean, it really does. I can appreciate that kind of low rent ingenuity. At the same time, you're talking about a movie that's called Amityville Poltergeist. So I mean, I can't blame the filmmakers for that. They didn't do that. They called this movie no sleep, I think is what they called it. The distributors thought, oh, we can cash in and call it Amityville Poltergeist, and it really reflects poorly on the people who made this movie.
Well, they screwed up by not calling it an Amityville Poltergeist Exorcist. I mean, that's all they're doing is naming popular horror movies.
Right. Oh man, I love the fact though. It is comedy gold that they go through the entire movie without actually mentioning Amityville. There's just no mention that they're anywhere near a place called Amityville. They don't even go. They didn't even go back. They didn't even bother to go back and loop in some dialogue saying, "I got to go all the way to Amityville." Just one line. One line.
I mean, I understand it. I mean, my brother's movie has been renamed like 3 times.
Yeah.
Most recently, It's a Wonderful Slice. But anyway,
yeah, this movie is awful. It is not. It is not good in any way. It's not really even fun to laugh at because you can see where there's that old college try going on amongst everybody in the cast and the crew. It's just a group of people who just don't have the money and the idea to actually really do something. They just went ahead and tried to do it anyway without having the real gumption to pull this off, the ability to pull this off. And somehow for them, they managed to get this in front of a distributor who is willing to put it out to people like me to talk about it under this title.
Well, it's the title. I mean, and because of that, you lose any hope of any charm that could have maybe been there.
Yeah.
It just disappears because of the name of the movie and the fact the distributors came in and ruined all that.
Yeah, so. I kind of feel bad for the filmmakers. At the same time, this movie wouldn't get out if it weren't called Amityville Poltergeist. So hopefully they're getting well compensated somehow.
Oh, they're not.
They're not. Yeah. No shade at Breaking Glass Pictures. They've done a lot of really good movies. This is just a really bit of shadiness on their part.
Yeah, and it's a business move. I get it. All right, let's move on to our classic. White Zombie.
Now, you're going to admit right now that you chose this because of Rob Zombie, right?
I would have done it earlier if I did. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I haven't thought about finding a way to work a Rob Zombie referencing, but you beat me to it. So, but I mean, I hear about this movie a lot from horror fans, kind of in the same breath as Frankenstein and Dracula and all these movies. And I don't know. I was a little bit more boring than those.
I agree. Yeah, this is not like nearly as good as The Mummy for sure. That movie is incredible. Like that is a true work of art. And it's not even as good as Dracula, which starred Bela Lugosi. This one is just I like the attempt. I like what they're trying to do, but there's no way this movie was going to last beyond 1932 in terms of being scary, because I mean Bela Lugosi's reputation is nothing anymore. You say that name, there are a lot of people that just kind of who was that? And then then of course when you're watching it and it's just all about his stare and this thing that he does with his hands, like that's all the movie is. It kind of lessens the impact of this. It's a better movie than Army of the Dead because it's only 66 minutes long. Right. So I appreciate that. The idea here is that a young couple has traveled to Haiti for reasons they never bother to explain. They end up accepting an invitation very stupidly to go to this guy's mansion in the middle of nowhere in Haiti. The guy, I mean, could not make it more obvious what he's trying to do. He's trying to seduce the wife away from the husband, and they're just completely clueless. The couple, they just think, what a nice guy. They really look dumb. The guy who owns the house, he decides to enlist Bela Lugosi to help him get the woman of his dreams by taking her mind away, taking control of her mind and making it appear as if she's died and then brought back as a zombie. And she kind of is, and she kind of isn't. It's hard to really say. She appears to be dead at one point, but then she's not dead. And, and she's just under the control of Bela Lugosi. There's a lot of ideas, like the idea of somebody who turns his enemies into his zombie minions is kind of an interesting idea. But zombie in this movie takes on like a different perspective. I mean, I guess they do introduce the idea that these people are dead, but they're not dead. They're more
Right.
mind controlled than they are dead. But maybe they are dead. It's hard to say. The movie's very vague on that point. Like I said, the best thing it's got going for it is that runtime of 66 minutes and the name White Zombie.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely you have those classic movies that you just watch like, wow, that still holds up today. Then you have those classic movies where you go, I can see it working then.
Mm-hmm.
And this is that. It definitely doesn't stand the test of time, and the people that talk about it in the same breath as Dracula and Mummy and Frankenstein and all these other movies, I think it's more just their appreciation for that era of movies, because I don't see it personally.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I don't see this movie being nearly on the level of Frankenstein, or certainly Bride of Frankenstein, which is a true like artistic achievement. And then I would put The Mummy above all of those. I think Karloff's Mummy is an incredible movie that really does still hold up today as a genuine classic film beyond just being a monster movie.
I do think that's a cool poster though, so maybe it's got that going for it.
I would like that on my wall. I would like to have that poster on my wall.
So it has to be the imagery and just the idea of that era of films that people keep this movie around for. But yeah, I was kind of bummed. I was hoping to be shocked.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing.
Yeah. All right. This was a fun text message thread back and forth. Backdraft turns 30 years old.
Backdraft. I'm starting to have this like glass-breaking revelation regarding Ron Howard that's making me afraid to ever watch Apollo 13 again, because going back and watching his stuff, it really, really doesn't hold up very well. His movies really feel like movies.
I was going to say, you said it's too much of a movie. And I was like, I knew exactly what you were saying.
I'm desperately spoiled by you're right about Midsommar. Midsommar has ruined movies because I can't watch movies anymore. I want them all to be Midsommar.
But you go back and look at what else is out. Silence of the Lambs came out earlier in 1991.
Right.
Goodfellas was a year before that. And I know it's, if you look at music, it's just like Poison still released music into the 90s, even though Nirvana existed.
This is a very unskinny bop movie.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with it other than the fact that it's just too much of a movie. Right. It's just very, I don't know.
It's highly predictable. It's the dialogue feels so completely stilted from beginning to end. You go, I go, all that stuff, and that boring 90s machismo that runs through the whole thing. The fire stuff is fun, and when De Niro walks in, and initially when he's on screen, it feels like, okay, here's some energy, here's some life, here's a different vibe, and then he eventually succumbs to the whole magic of the fire. Did it look you in the eyes? The fire's alive. You see it? It's alive. Oh my God. I get it. You like fire. It's pretty. Fine.
And I mean, I worry when we get to like the Demolition Mans and the cliffhangers. I still think those are going to be stupid enough fun.
Right.
That this one's just not dumb enough. I mean, it's like
it's neither dumb enough or good enough to be anything other than wildly mediocre.
It's like You Go, I Go might have been cool in like 87. By 91, it's not cool anymore. Maybe it still was. I don't know.
Maybe.
It definitely isn't now.
No. No. And then whole romance of the fire thing. Did it look into your eyes? Oh my God. Shut up, Donald Sutherland. Shut up.
But I mean, again, Hannibal Lecter already existed.
Right.
One, he existed twice. He's playing more of the Michael Mann version, and even that was better than this.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a weird few years until Pulp Fiction comes out, when I think everything just takes off the right direction. The 80s are still hanging out here, and that's what's just odd about this movie.
Really unfortunate, but man, I'm really having a rough time dealing with my appreciation for Ron Howard. I really do think I appreciate Ron Howard. This is certainly a very competent movie in many ways, but it's also just incredibly stilted, predictable, and filled with these stock characters and stock lines. And it's groan inducing. It borders on cringe.
I almost like it when I said cool in 87. I wonder if it had come out earlier, because this is a movie I went back and watched a lot. I remember seeing it maybe once, twice tops, as opposed to the Rambos and Terminators and even Cliffhanger and Demolition Man later on. This one should be in those ballparks, but maybe it's too competent for it.
What this feels like a lot is like, it feels a lot like Navy SEALs. It feels like this movie would appeal to the audience that Navy SEALs appealed to.
Yeah, because Kurt Russell's character just kind of he's just diving through fire recklessly, even though he has a kid. And then the whole scene where she makes him leave because she doesn't want his son to have to deal with his dad dying. Well, he's still his dad. So when he dies, it's not going to change anything.
Yeah,
he knows he exists. So that whole scene was totally pointless.
Yeah. This whole subplot was pointless.
Yeah.
And William Baldwin is fine, but he's like incredibly bland in this.
And because he's the main character, I think that's the movie takes on his persona, which is bland.
Yeah, and there is zero like romantic sparks between him and Jennifer Jason Leigh. Yeah, there's just nothing there. They try and make that happen, and it's just not happening. The more interesting relationship and the more interesting movie is him and De Niro investigating fires. That's a far more. Yeah, that's a far more interesting movie. Absolutely. In the few scenes that it has.
But even the big reveal, one of the big bads at the end, which is like, really? Got a socket on his shoulder.
He basically solves the whole thing with dumb luck.
Right.
Like if he doesn't arrive at the firehouse at the exact moment that guy's taking a shower and sees that thing on his back, the whole movie just doesn't. There's no resolution to the movie. It's just randomly assigned. It's just such a weak plot.
And the whole Hugo Igo thing is totally pointless. He can't possibly live. Now you're just gonna die too.
Right.
The mannequin scene was kind of funny though, even though I knew it was coming because I've seen it before.
Did it look you in the eyes?
And there was Thelma and Louise also trying to be the far superior movie.
Far superior. This one was written by Kelly Currie and directed by Ridley Scott and stars Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis. This is a movie that Jodie Foster dropped out of so that she could be in Silence of the Lambs, interestingly enough. It was going to be her and Michelle Pfeiffer in the starring roles in this movie until they both dropped out. Michelle Pfeiffer went on to make something called Love Field, which, good choice. No one remembers that. Thelma and Louise tells the story of two friends that go on what they plan to be just a weekend vacation, getting away from the men in their lives. And they end up in a situation where Gina Davis is nearly raped by a guy named Harlan in the parking lot of a honky tonk. Susan Sarandon ends up killing that guy, not while he's doing it, a little while afterward, just a moment afterward, after he really pisses her off. So it's definitely murder.
Yeah.
And they're forced to then go on the run, or they decide to go on the run from there. And Gina Davis's character finds that she really likes being a criminal. She's been with the same guy played by Christopher McDonald, this complete loser, for her entire adulthood, since she was 14 years old, I think is what she intimates eventually, that she was with him since she was 14. That's a long time, and also highly cringe. But perfectly fitting for the character, and she really uses that backstory really well to peel out the layers of this character as she goes on. It's an incredible performance by Gina Davis. They meet a guy played by Brad Pitt along the way. Michael Madsen is the kind of good guy that Sarah Sarandon is seeing, and then there's Harvey Keitel, who plays what may be the first truly woke cop in movie history. When you think about it, because look at every choice that he made was trying to make sure that they didn't end up with a bunch of cops pointing guns at him, because even then cops were aware, if we end up in a situation where a lot of cops are pointing a lot of guns, somebody's going to shoot. That is something that we knew 30 years ago, and we know even more better today, that when you create that situation where you're putting a lot of men with guns in the same place, somebody wants to fire. That's just a fact. Just the numbers bear it out. And that Keitel voiced that 30 years ago is pretty something. It's pretty observant on the part of writer Kelly Curry, and for Rennie Harlan to include that was really interesting. And Keitel really brings an entirely different energy. Without him, this movie doesn't work. He is a linchpin to making this work, because he gives you this hope that there is a chance. Even after you've seen the movie, it's still like he's the hopeful aspect of this, even though you know where this is headed. And that final freeze frame shot is it's such a perfect ending. It just couldn't be any other way than that. And that's poignant. It's sad, but it's also like true and rebellious and iconic in the kind of way that the ending of Butch and Sundance is iconic, or the kind of, it's just that kind of iconic ending that stays with you for 30 years.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because you could they could have not necessarily gotten away with it, but they probably could have been okay. They didn't need to go on the run necessarily,
right?
But you buy into the fact that these characters would. We have the benefit of seeing Harvey Keitel's character, and they don't. And on top of that, they're somewhat sheltered. They're and one of them is starting to get off on the notion of being a criminal.
Sarandon, has a well-earned cynicism about the system and about men, especially, that is layered throughout the entire movie. That really drives her character and it makes complete sense. She doesn't trust these guys. She shouldn't, based off of her own unique personal experience.
Yeah, even if she's wrong, like at one point after she got raped, or Gina Davis' character got raped, she's like, no one's gonna believe us. Meanwhile, Gina Davis's face is all bruised and bloody, so they might have believed you, but I believe that she didn't believe that. I bought into it's not your typical movie where they make all the wrong decisions. They make the wrong decisions, but I believe their characters would have done that. Yeah. And that's why this movie works, is you don't sit there, you don't argue with the movie at all.
Right. And the script really, the Kelly Curry script really layers that aspect in. It's not hammer you on the head with that point. It's a long, drawn out process of convincing you of that, and through just revealing bits of character piece and not lengthy expositional dialogue.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool, neat movie. And did you see? And I don't want to go back to wrestling, but was it Fox had this show with I think Renee Young hosted it, and CM Punk was on it. They had Charlotte Flair on there, and she was talking about how her and Becky Lynch are Thelma and Louise. And they were trying to figure out which one was which, and CM Punk was, who cares? They both died at the end.
Oh my god!
But that is something you always hear. I'm not going to say women compare themselves to Thelma and Louise, but I'm sure it happens.
Yeah.
Guys should probably compare themselves to Butch and Sundance more.
I'm for non-binary comparisons, so I'm happy
There you go.
if you and I can be Thelma.
We get Thelma and
Louise.
Louise. There we go. Thanks for getting me out of my trap that I walked into. There were other movies that turned 30. Obviously, Thelma and Louise was the best this week.
Right.
Hudson Hawk is worse than Backdraft.
It's so bad. So bad. Oh, Bruce Willis, just the first hints of his completely giving up.
He hates movies.
He really does. Dude, I just want to sing. That's all. I just want to sing. I don't care. I don't care about this. Just let me sing. I'll be in your movie if I can sing.
Yeah. It makes Tango and Cash look like a classic. It makes Backdraft look phenomenal. The John Candy movie, Only the Lonely, came out.
Yeah, it's a romantic comedy. He plays a writer who lives at home with his mom, who's kind of strict, and he's trying to date Ali Sheedy. And it was this period where people were trying to be convinced that John Candy was a romantic leading man, and I don't know. It's fine, I guess.
He wasn't Chevy Chasers.
At the very least, he wasn't like, it wasn't constantly look at the fat guy doing the fat guy things. That wasn't he with this movie, at least he wasn't doing a lot of that. So I can appreciate it from that perspective.
And then Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken.
Gabrielle Anwar starring in a movie about diving horses, which if you don't know, that was a real thing. Many, many, many horses died throughout the 1920s and 30s from people thinking it'd be a great idea to have horses jumping off of high dives into small pools as part of circuses. Humanity, yay! We suck.
Oh shit.
But it's a romantic, heartwarming family movie in which many, many horses died.
Man. Well, that is our show. Next week we have Cruella, Quiet Place 2, the Moby Doc, Endangered Species, a classic is Water Than the Real Girl, and Silkfish turns 30. Before we go play Flickchart, a reminder to go to patreon.com/critics support the podcast. On any platform, give us 5-star review, and go ahead, Sean, tell them what they win. If they
the first 5 who do that will win a copy of the new Asian action film Deliver Us from Evil, which has gotten some great reviews from people who love that type of Asian action film. If you want a copy, let's post a 5-star review on one of those places. Let us know you did it, and Bob will get me your address, and I'll send you the movie.
Yeah, it looks like a very cool movie. And then our TeePublic page at ihatecritics.net. If you click on the TeePublic link up in the right-hand corner, you can get yourself some of our merch.
And Bob will put that up on our Twitter and Facebook as well too. I'll do the Facebook, you do the Twitter, because I don't know how to do the Twitter.
All right, fair enough. That works out. Let's play a little Flickchart before we call it a night. Bedazzled Ever After.
Bedazzled. I think it's shorter.
I can get behind that. The Wedding Singer, Grease.
I don't know. I don't really care for either of these movies. Grease is one of those movies that I find to be tremendously, tremendously overrated. The Wedding Singer is Adam Sandler. In a bad wig, no less. Wedding Singer for Billy Idol.
I think they're both overrated, but the Wedding Singer is more watchable for me. The Phantom of the Opera, 2004. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Sure. Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen, Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Fast and the Furious, Singing in the Rain.
Oh man, Singing in the Rain. Love Fast and Furious.
Wreck-It Ralph, The Bone Collector.
Wreck-It Ralph, by a lot.
Yes. Network, Iron Man.
Tough. Network. I love Iron Man though.
Yeah, it's hard for me because Josh keeps putting us over Rocky. I don't think he deserves that, but I'll go with Network. It was a hell of a year in 1976. Beautiful Mind, Ron Howard versus Boys in the Hood.
What might happen if I watch Beautiful Mind again? My God, Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood is safer. It's the safer
I will
pick.
say my brother's been calling Ron Howard out forever, even though he's a huge Kurt Russell fan.
Yeah.
He hated A Beautiful Mind because of the Ron Howardisms in it. The day it came out, he goes, I knew at the end there, and I'll take a pen and put it there. It was just stupid. So, but I thought it worked. The Hudsucker Proxy, Brady Bunch, the movie.
Hudsucker, yeah. Brady Bunch is just a couple of gags, really, more than anything.
Black Sheep, The Interpreter.
The Interpreter is just so far up its own ass that the Black Sheep, because yeah.
The series of gags work better.
Yeah, I'd rather watch Chris Farley fall down than sit through that up its own ass bullshit.
Only Chris Nolan knows how to get his own ass. John Q, Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen.
John Q, really one of the. I mean, there's not much that can't beat a Transformers movie.
Hot Shots, Notting Hill.
Notting Hill for me.
No, I'm supposed to say that. I like Hot Shots a lot. Notting Hill. Stand By Me, Superman.
Stand By Me for me.
I agree. Love Actually, Tootsie.
Love Actually. Fuck Tootsie. Dustin Hoffman. Two things that this podcast has ruined for me: Ron Howard and Dustin Hoffman.
You forgot Room Crash as well. Sure, Kevin Spacey's going to act again.
I heard that he's going to be in a Franco Nero movie.
Yeah.
It's only going to be good if Reb Brown's also in it.
Arachnophobia, The Ninth Gate.
I've been actually getting just like spacey conspiracy theory videos. There's this woman on YouTube called the Internet Historian, and she did a video detailing how each of those ridiculous YouTube videos that Spacey did came out like a day before or after somebody who had accused him of something had died. It is a weird coincidence. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's true or not. It's just a weird coincidence how that worked out.
Well, just the fact that
3 of them dead.
Yeah. That alone, forget about the YouTube video. 3 people dead was just like, really?
Watch your back, Anthony Rapp. Ninth Gate for me.
Agreed. The Full Monty, Unforgiven.
Unforgiven.
Yes. It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Scream 3.
Yeah, Pumpkin.
Prince, Avalanche, Blue Velvet.
I mean, I'm going with Prince, Avalanche. Paul Rudd's pretty funny in that movie. It's not a movie that a lot of people have seen, but he's really good in it. And I don't enjoy Blue Velvet. Not that you're supposed to enjoy Blue Velvet, but I don't know what you're supposed to be during Blue Velvet.
It's still like David Lynch is so weird. Still, why is it easy to shit on Lost Highway, but then like Mulholland Drive and Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive is obviously one thing, but like we just say it's a good movie, but I don't get any of them. But why do I know Lost Highway sucks? Like I don't understand that.
Right.
Spider-Man 2, 2004. You can get buns.
It's Spider-Man 2 all the way. Interesting note, though, I was listening to the newest episode of How Did This Get Made, and they were talking about Terry Kaiser, who, of course, plays Bernie in that movie. It was in the movie that they're talking about. And Paul Scheer pointed out something pretty interesting in that when you really think about it, Terry Kaiser's performance in Weekend at Bernie's is absolutely incredible. It's one of the greatest physical comedy performances of all time. You really believe that guy is dead in that movie. He doesn't let on for a moment that he's alive. Can try and imagine being that actor pulling that off. That's pretty damn impressive when you think about it. As stupid a movie as Weekend at Bernie's is, that is a hell of a performance.
Yeah, but I could see like Peter Sellers or Jim Carrey doing it.
I can't. Carrey would give away the game. He couldn't do a dead guy the entire movie.
I don't know. Charlie Wilson's War, Easy Rider.
Charlie Wilson all the way. I can't watch Easy Rider.
Ocean's 12, The Breakup.
Ocean's 12. Breakup should have been better.
Yeah. Nymphomaniac, Roman.
I'm gonna go with Nymphomaniac.
I agree.
This Ronan is it's a movie. It's a Ron Howard, John Frankenheimer.
Yeah, it's like the next generation's backdraft. Bury Me an Angel, 1972.
Never heard of it.
About the Asphalt Jungle.
I'm aware of the Asphalt Jungle.
Have you seen it?
It's been years. Like, I think we can skip both.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, Monty Python's Meaning of Life.
If it were Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1, I would definitely pick that. But I'm picking Meaning of Life.
Agreed. Super Troopers, A Bug's Life.
A Bug's Life. I hate Super Troopers.
It is enough to...
So I can't hear you, Bob.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, I can.
I was mumbling myself in the microphone. Tango and Cash, Semi-Pro.
Fubar. Tango and Cash. Semi-Pro sucks.
Yeah. That was like at the height of Will Ferrell doing everything right for a while. And then Semi-Pro comes out. Oh, no, he still sucks. The Graduate, The Ninth Gate.
Yeah, it's The Ninth Gate. Even though it's not even a great movie, I still would rather watch that than The Graduate.
Gravity, Go.
Gravity, but I love Go. I think Go's really good.
Agreed. Deadpool 2, The Amazing Spider-Man.
It's Deadpool 2. It's so funny.
Star Trek Beyond, Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Agreed. Benny and June, Blade Runner 2049.
Blade Runner 2049. People are going to look back at that movie. They are going to look back at 2049 and see what they missed.
I hope so. I just worry that it comes out for the disposable era of movies. Gaslight, Beethoven.
Gaslight. Gaslight's a great movie. Sorry, Charles Grodin.
Yeah.
Rest in R.I.P. Charles Grodin.
Super 8, A Little Princess.
Super 8.
The Karate Kid remake, Gone with the Wind.
The Karate Kid.
Really?
I hate Gone with the Wind so much. Oh.
I've never seen it, so I just did. Yeah. The Apartment, PHX 1138.
THX is amazing, but The Apartment is, Billy Wilder, Jack Lemmon, and Shirley MacLaine at their best. I mean, you can't beat it.
Yeah. Roxanne, Into the Wild.
Into the Wild.
Creed, Halloween H2O, It. 2017.
It's It, but I kind of like H2O, honestly.
But for the right reasons?
I think so.
Okay. The Lion King, There's Something About Mary.
There's Something About Mary. Still very, very funny to me.
Agreed. Eagle Eye, The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Eagle Eye. Gina Davis just never found her footing as a frontline star. She's good in a duo, but out front just never worked.
Free Willy, Dave.
Dave. Free Willy kind of bores me.
The Dish, Mr. Bean's Holiday.
The Dish, one of the great underrated movies of the last 22 years. That movie is incredible. It stars Sam Neill, and it's about how this satellite station in Australia was the main reason that any of us got to see the moon landing. And the things that they had to do to make that happen so that the world could have this moment of seeing the man walk on the moon. That story is so incredible. It's so charming and funny and dramatic, and people just completely missed it. I called that one of the top 10 movies of 2000 because it really was that good.
Stanley Kubrick in it, filming the Sahara being John Malkovich.
Being John Malkovich.
Stuck on You, Deadfall.
Flip a coin, they both suck.
Stuck on You. Phantoms, American History X.
Netflix to bomb, yo.
That we're picking.
I mean, I'm never going to watch American History X again.
Yeah. Clerks 2, Little Miss Sunshine.
Legitimately very difficult choice here. Legitimately. I love Clerks 2. Maybe it's my loyalty to Kevin Smith, but I love that movie. In my heart, I know Little Miss Sunshine's a better movie.
What are you picking? Clerks 2?
Sunshine.
Yeah.
Just the right thing to do in that one.
Yeah, I'll watch Clerks 2, but Little Miss Sunshine. Nosferatu, the others.
The others.
Have we done that as a classic, Nosferatu?
No, I don't think so.
The Truman Show, Top Secret.
Truman Show.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. The Jungle Book.
Fantastic Beasts. Jungle Book. No thanks.
Once Hancock.
Once.
Milk Splash.
Milk.
Stupid two movies next to each other. Milk Splash. Star Trek Generations, Meet the Parents.
Meet the Parents. Generations sucked.
Speed, Polar Express.
Speed.
Hellraiser, Bridget Jones' Diary.
Bridget Jones.
Dragonheart, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Dragonheart.
End it there.
Sure. I would love to know what Josh would have picked in that one.
Oh, Indiana Jones. Even if he didn't like it, he'd take it.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to you later.